I went to college in the late 90s when rollerblades were really popular. Does anybody remember that? Rollerblades. I still see them around, but then it was the big thing, right? Everybody had them, especially a lot of college students who didn't have other transportation. I went to school in Grand Forks, which is pretty much a great town to rollerblade in. There's one hill, it's Columbia, over the highway there, and I avoided that. And you'll find out why. So one afternoon, a bunch of us kids that were friends went out rollerblading. There was a couple of guys on bikes, I think, and then there was like 10 to 15 of us on rollerblades. It was like a little pack. And we just started off at campus and went down to downtown Grand Forks, and somebody had the great idea that we should go up to the top of the parking ramp, which is like 4 stories. They're not real huge parking ramps, obviously. This is North Dakota. But that was still, like, we could see pretty much the whole area. We were up at the top and enjoying the view. And then, oh, I forgot to mention, 2 people stayed at the bottom. The guy I was dating at the time, who was really smart, and another friend of ours who was also really smart, stayed down there, and they said, "You idiots, you go on up to the top. That's fine. We'll stay down here." And I know what you're thinking, but none of us were under the influence of anything. Okay, when we went up to the top of the parking garage. So we enjoyed the view and then had to go back down. And this is where I hadn't really thought ahead too far because I have never been very good with the brakes on the rollerblades. So going up is fine. You just work really hard. You get up to the top. Going down, gravity takes over a little bit. And I couldn't use my brakes very well. So I would kind of like, your brake is on your heel. And I was slowing down as much as I could, but I had wrist guards on. That's like the one piece of safety equipment, no helmet, that I had was wrist guards because I didn't want to break my wrists if I fell. I figured that would really be hard as an English major. So, so my plan was that I would use my brakes as much as I could and then just kind of crash into the wall at the end of the thing with I was probably 20 at the time. Some decision-making issues, obviously. But I just kind of crash into the wall at the end with my wrist guards in front of me, like this. And it was great. It worked really well for like the first 3 levels. And then that last level, as I'm going down the incline, which is a little bit steeper than the other ones when you leave the parking ramp, I look ahead of me, and as I'm gathering speed, realize there is no wall at the bottom. There is a half wall, and which the sidewalk is on the other side of that wall, and then the street is on the other side of that. So I'm seeing this as I'm going down. Probably I'm estimating about 20 miles an hour, and gaining. And so I'm going to turn, right? Because I can't obviously keep going straight ahead. So I turn, and that's where my boyfriend and our other friend are standing there next to the wall. And I'm turning, and I'm like, oh, crap, there's not another wall there either. It's the 2 lanes where you drive in. So there's the 1 lane, and then there's a big median in the middle with a cement post in it. And then there's another lane where you drive in. So I'm like, come around the corner, and my boyfriend, God bless his soul, holding on, because he's on rollerblades too. He reaches out his arm for me to grab onto. Physics take over. I did not stop, and my momentum took both of us over the entire first lane onto the median in the middle. So it was at least 6 feet that we both flew, and it felt like a lot more than that at the time. So we land in the middle of the median and kind of get up, and I'm like, I cannot believe it, but I don't think I'm hurt. And my big wad of university keys was in my other pocket than the one I landed on. That's all I could think about when I sat up. I was like, oh, thank God I didn't land on my keys, because I would probably have like lost my thigh or something. So we got up, and we just like, by then everybody else was down, and everybody else had missed it except for my friend and my boyfriend and I. And we all kind of went off, and I'm like, what just happened? I think I almost died. And I had a bruise about this big on my butt and hip from that, but that was the only lasting injury. And so what do you do when somebody saves your life? You marry him.